What is up? Welcome back for another week of NHL playoff hockey. I hope you guys enjoyed your weekend a little bit. Did you spend some time with Mom? I hope you did. Just send her some flowers. It's the least you can do. I know you don't have a car, but the least you can do is scrounge some money together and send Mom some flowers. You don't even have to go to the florist anymore. You can order the flowers on Uber Eats or DoorDash. And because it's your mom, you don't have to be embarrassed about doing it. They're just happy to get the flowers. But if you meet a girl, you can't be sending those Uber Eats flowers where they see the receipt when the guy drops it at the door. This guy just send me Uber Eats? Do these flowers smell a little like McDonald's fries because the guy who dropped off this order also picked up a McDonald's order on the way? If you want to learn about that, I talked about that on my podcast, the Valentine's Day episode. It's the Uber Eats flowers scam. But that's not for this show. This show is about NHL sniffs and specifically NHL playoff sniffs. So far, the playoffs have been like a Roddy Piper type of playoffs. As soon as you think you got the answers, the playoffs changes the question. We're going to start in Colorado, where the best home team in the NHL is facing the best road team in the NHL. And when those forces collided last game, the best road team in the NHL prevailed. And it was because they brought forth an unbelievably effective form of defense. Like, it was not fluky. They held the Avalanche under 30 shots once again, and this is an Avalanche team that was peppering Winnipeg with 40 shots a game. And I was thinking, okay, well, if they're doing that to Winnipeg, there's not a team that could slow that down, especially a team that is sitting there 6 defensemen. Dallas is playing 5 defensemen. Their 6 defensemen gets 5 minutes a game. So what they've been able to do, especially with Pavelski lugging around out there, has been very impressive. I think Marchman coming back into the lineup has helped them. Even going back to last series, you see when Dallas goes on the road, they try to get a lead, and then they really try to hunker down and play defense. And I think because that's the result that they got last game, they're going to just try the same approach. Even in that Game 6 against Vegas, they lost 1-0. It was 0-0 in the third. And I think this is the approach that Dallas brings on the road, the traditional, classic road type of hockey. And I would imagine that their approach this game looks relatively similar to their approach last game, which is why I really want to say I personally am going to take the under 6.5. I could understand why saying that in a Colorado game is terrifying. You look at games 1, look at games 2. But I'm not looking at those 2 games. I'm looking at every single Dallas road game I've seen these playoffs, including the last one, and there's a clear approach that they take. After that, I honestly think Colorado is going to find a way to win this game. What you saw in that Game 6 against Vegas, where Vegas kept pushing and pushing, and they were mostly controlling, but it was a tie game still. I think Colorado has what it takes to push through, just like Vegas did in that game. I don't want to say a low scoring win. In terms of a Colorado game, I imagine a lower scoring win. It's not going to be some 6-5 game or something like that, which is why I'm going to go with the Colorado Avalanche money line. And if you're going to parlay that with a total, that takes like a minus 130 to a plus 135, if I saw that correctly, or plus 125. And I think that's a good bet for this game. The best road team in the NHL, they came through last game. But I imagine the best home team in the NHL, and with that home ice, that Denver, that mile-high advantage, will find a way to win this game. And the big dogs got to show up. They were very frustrated last game. I was frustrated watching it. You probably were too if you were at home. And I'm taking Nathan MacKinnon. I know Dallas is blocking anything and everything. But in a game that they have to win, I really think it's going to be one of those games where MacKinnon is blasting everything towards the net. And because he's been struggling to clear that number, it's not minus 140, not minus 150 anymore. It's minus 110. So I'm going to take the over 4.5 shots on goal for Nathan MacKinnon. Now in this other game, the earlier game, we got Game 5 between the Rangers and the Carolina Hurricanes. I got to say, in Game 4, I almost was equally impressed with the Rangers as I was in that previous game where they came back and then they took the lead in the third, blew the lead at the very end only to win it in overtime. They were trailing 2 in an elimination game for Carolina. They came back in the third and they lost it. And that's where I'm just going to bring in a little nugget at the end of that game. The Rangers power play, which, I've praised. I said it's ultra elite, right up there with the Oilers. They did go 0 for 5 on the road in these last 2 games. And obviously, the last game ended with a Carolina power play goal. And I bring this up because, A, it could be a deciding factor in this game. Either way, the team that scored the power play goals has always won the game. But going back to Madison Square Garden, the Rangers have earned the right to allow you to believe that they're going to rebound. I mean, that wasn't an easy win for Carolina last game. Interestingly enough, every single game in this series has been a 1-goal game. 0 puck lines have been cleared. So I guess think about that before you click on any puck line in the minus direction. If you've taken it in the plus direction, you've won every single time, but you've got a disgusting price on it. The first thing I'm going to talk about is Alex Lafreniere, who clearly is playing the best hockey of his entire career. He was getting shifts on the top line. They obviously are bumping up his opportunities as he's playing with such confidence. I believe he has 3 goals in his last 2 games, or is it 4 goals in his last 3 games? He's scoring a lot, I'll just say that. And he's obviously playing with confidence, and this is a guy who typically shoots. Remember, I had to sell you guys on the idea of Lafreniere being a distributor when we were going to do the Lafreniere assist with Panarin over 1.5 points toward the end of the regular season. Well, he's clearly shooting more. His total isn't 2.5, which it was pretty much all season. It's 1.5, despite the fact that he's playing the best hockey of his career and shooting with total confidence. So obviously, I'm going to go with the over 1.5 shots on goal, but I'm also going to take the over 2.5 shots on goal. I'll take the alt shots on goal for Alex Lafreniere, over 2.5 shots on goal. And if you want to take that 1.5, if any of you are on ESPN Bet, or you want to take the Avalanche and you don't want to take that under 7.5, this is an Andy special juicer. My guess is you're not hearing this anywhere, and if I'm wrong, I'm the person who screwed you. If this is incorrect, I am the person who screwed you. You can look at your screen and say, man, Andy and Andy alone screwed me, because I never would have clicked this if it wasn't for him. And that is the under half of a power play point for Jake Guentzel. And why would I do that? Come on, man. Well, Carolina just scored their first power play goal. So if this was 1 game ago, I'd say, well, just take the best price on their power play and take the under half of a point, because their power play has been beyond dismal, 0 for 12. Now there's a new reason. The new reason is, oh yes, he's on power play 2, but he is fully priced as being the best member of power play 1. Obviously, after they went 0 for 12, they rolled out some new lines, new power play combinations, and the power play combination that scored was their top power play, which is without Guentzel. Now, you can imagine the unit that scored is not just going to get that 60 seconds. They're getting the 75 seconds, because that unit is the only one that's clicked in this series. And anytime you're on that second unit, even on a team like Carolina, who typically splits their units up 1 minute at a time. Okay, let's say you get to the minute mark. It's usually 1 minute, 1:05. Then a clear happens. Then the new line comes on. And by the time they get the puck and set up into the zone, they got like 30 to 40 seconds. So I look at this as a massive advantage. I'm getting minus 238. I know you think that's a bad price, but you're probably not somebody who watches hockey. If somebody's on the second power play unit, and that second power play unit hasn't scored a single goal all series, but the units together have gone 1 for 13, yeah, that is absolutely something I'm going to take. And if it loses, I screwed you, but I also screwed myself. You're lucky I'm even telling you, because this is the kind of thing I don't like to bring up and repeatedly bet it every single game. Wait, Andy, you do that? Yeah, of course I do that. I like to run a test on things before I deliver it to the public. Kind of like how trials are supposed to go. Lab rats, humans, and then to you people. So the under half of a power play point for Jake Guentzel, or if you're on ESPN Bet and you take the over 1.5 shots for Alex Lafreniere, under half of a power play point for Jake Guentzel. and the under half of a power play point for Alex Lafreniere, because you know this Rangers power play, the top unit plays, 95 seconds? And then Lafreniere comes up, he brings it up into the zone, and the power play expires. I'm surprised they even still list him, to be honest. So if you take the Lafreniere over 1.5 shots, under half of a power play point for Gensel, under half of a power play point for Lafreniere. I know, these are weird, exotic bets, but hey, that's how I know if I see them on other sites, you know who they got them from. So that's what I like there. And also, the guy who scored that power play goal, Brady Shea. Check out his game log. I mean, he clearly is their best offensive defenseman, and it can be argued he's been their best offensive defenseman pretty much for the majority of the season. He has a point in every game but game 1, scored that game winner, and he's obviously at the top of the point on their top power play. On value and value alone, I think that's a pretty good play. Goals and assists in all games but game 1. So 3 straight games. So he's on a 3-game point streak, getting time on the top power play, the free point. You know what I like to talk about? Distribute to your left, distribute to your right. That's what I have for you here on a Monday as we look to get this week off to a good start. Good luck to you. Better luck to me. Make sure you are subscribed here to my YouTube page. We are slowly growing. Like one of those pictures that you think nothing's moving, but items are subtly moving, and then if you play it in double speed, you go, oh, look at that. Well, that's how it's going with my channel. Slow growth, but, it's like gains at the gym. No roids here. It's got to be done the authentic way, and that's with all of your guys' help. So if you can, like, comment, do all those fun things on the video. Click the notifications, all the Dunkin' Donut stuff. Like, you want coffees, bagels, like, comment, subscribe. And then obviously you can come join the Patreon. It's patreon.com/AndyFrancis. That's where I'll post any additional news. That's where there are chat threads with all the sniffers and all the other stuff they got going on, talking about other sports in the Ruckus chats. And, I think some best friends have been made in there and some worst enemies. Who knows? But you can go find out by checking out yourself at patreon.com/AndyFrancis. Hopefully I see you there. If not, I'll see you tomorrow. Take it easy.